So yeah, my mom was very insistent that I get tested. And at the time I understood why. I understand it's a big deal, and knowing can help potentially prevent, or catching it early as they did with her. I think I was just scared. I didn't want to know. The thought of knowing for sure made it seem like almost a death sentence. My grandmother is Janet Gorsling. We called her Mima. She was born and raised in Cleveland. Very, petite woman. Short stature. She's very tiny. But as far as her personality, she's quiet but very, very strong-willed, very determined woman. She married my grandfather, Emerson Gorsling, we called Papa. They had 3 kids, my Aunt Linda, my Uncle Ray, and then my mom, Karen. I was really close with my grandmother. I love Mima so much. We, would always go over. They lived very close to where I grew up. So going over Mima and Papa's was a very regular thing. So I'd always gravitate towards Mima. Loved baking with her. It was kind of our thing. Every Christmas we'd bake Christmas cookies together. And I loved spending time with her. She was my grandmother, and I just thought she was amazing. I think she, overall she was the leader. I mean, she was in charge of everything, and, she led the pack, and we all looked up to her, and being so strong and mighty, it was Mima. What Mima says, we listen to, and we, do it her way, and yeah. My mom takes, I think, from what I can see, or what I saw growing up, takes after my grandmother a ton. She's also, an independent, strong-willed woman, has worked her entire life. I would say my mom very much took on the role, that Mima had, in a sense. She's kind of the leader, the go-to, kind of whatever mom says goes a lot of the times, and she does a lot for the family. I mean, she's currently taking care of her father, mostly by herself. Her siblings help, but one doesn't live here, and one is dealing with some of his own illness, and so she's kind of taking the reins, and it's a lot. I mean, she has a lot on her shoulders with that. So the BRCA gene is a mutation in one of the genes that causes breast cancer. So there's actually 2. There's the BRCA1 and the BRCA2. The BRCA1 tends to be the worst of the 2. Causes more problems, I guess, down the line than the BRCA2. But it's just a genetic mutation. So I remember my grandmother being sick a lot. Big portion of my life. I mean, not obviously the entire time, but she battled ovarian cancer 3 times, and eventually succumbed to it. But my grandmother was sick a lot of my life. Sometimes sicker than others, but she was dealing with cancer a big portion of my life growing up. My mom found out, when she was diagnosed the second time with breast cancer. The doctors kind of told her all about this BRCA gene. If she had heard about it prior to that, we didn't really talk about it too much that I remember. But I think, once she was tested and was officially positive, it obviously was a bigger deal and something that, they tell you right then, anybody in your family at that point should get tested. I was hesitant at first because I was scared. I didn't know if I wanted to know that, okay, yeah, you have this gene that it's like, okay, you're going to get cancer. It's just when and how bad is it going to be? So that's scary to think about. So I finally decided to go in I think it was around fall or winter of 2018. It's just a blood test, and then they call you in a couple weeks and let you know. I found out right after the first of the year, January of 2019. I got the call that, unfortunately, I was positive for the gene as well. When I got the phone call that I was positive, I just started bawling. I was just thinking that, okay, I just basically got the phone call that I'm going to get cancer. You know, I don't know if it's gonna be breast cancer, if it's gonna be ovarian cancer, or both, or, you know, I didn't know how bad, it just, all of those things were going through my head that it was like a guarantee. My mom was the first one I called, and, you know, of course she was upset as well, but, you know, took a deep breath and reminded me and helped calm me down by reminding me, you know, this isn't a guarantee. I remember she kept saying, knowledge is power, knowledge is power. Now you know, and now you can take the right steps, and worst case, you know, down the line something does happen, you can catch it early. In my experience, what changed is I was more aware. I was more, it wasn't, once I calmed down and, like I said, got over the initial shock of it, it wasn't as scary. You know, okay, if they find something now, hopefully it's early enough that there's no issue. But, you know, so I think I just feel a little bit more, I feel more in control of it. Like, I feel like I kind of took some of the control back after, you know, initially feeling like I was completely out of control and had no say in anything that was happening to me. Knowing, you know, with what my grandmother went through and what my mom went through, and now kind of what I'm dealing with, you know, I think that they've just really channeled, you know, strength and knowing that, you know, you can get something that, you know, is not so good news, but, you know, just stay strong and you're gonna get through it. And I think that that's one thing that I think about what they went through and knowing that they had it way worse. And, you know, it just helps me kind of almost keep it in check, you know, that it's a serious and it's a big deal, but it could be way worse. And had you not had the guidance of, you know, especially my mother, who knows, you know, I could have not got the testing, not had these MRIs, and in a couple of years I could be telling a very different story.